1. Cane sugar versus high-fructose corn syrup, which is healthier? 2. Trump's impact, Coca-Cola to use real sugar, ADM shares fall. 1. Cane sugar versus high-fructose corn syrup, which is healthier? Imagine a world where your favorite soda could be a little less guilty a pleasure, but only if you believe the hype. Recently, a claim sparked a frenzy: Coca-Cola might ditch high-fructose corn syrup, HFCS, for real cane sugar, courtesy of a presidential announcement. But here's the twist: experts say the health difference might be more myth than miracle. Let's dive in. The controversy began with President Trump's assertion that Coca-Cola would revert to cane sugar, a move last seen in the US over 4 decades ago. While the company hasn't confirmed, the news sent ripples through the market, with HFCS producer Archer-Daniels-Midland's stocks slipping. So, what's the real story behind these sweeteners, and does one win the health battle? The sweetener showdown: cane sugar versus HFCS. Cane sugar, derived from sugarcane, a tropical grass, is composed of glucose and fructose in a roughly 1-to-1 ratio. HFCS, made from cornstarch, is processed into a liquid blend, commonly HFCS 55% fructose, 45% glucose, in sodas. The FDA calls them nutritionally equivalent, but some research paints a different picture. Studies link HFCS to increased fat storage and inflammation, possibly due to its fructose dominance affecting liver metabolism. Yet the FDA insists no safety gap exists between HFCS and other sweeteners like sucrose or honey. The price war: why HFCS won the US market. HFCS is cheaper, thanks to corn subsidies and 1980s sugar quotas under Reagan. These policies forced US companies to abandon imported cane sugar for domestic corn-based alternatives. Today, sugarcane in Florida, Louisiana, and Texas still struggles to compete. As attorney Ben Michael notes, US trade policies artificially inflated sugar costs, making HFCS the cost-effective choice. The bottom line: neither is a hero. Health experts agree, the real villain is excess sugar, regardless of source. Overconsumption links to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The type of sugar matters less than the amount, warns the Cleveland Clinic. So, if Coke does switch, the calorie count and your health risk remains unchanged. But here's where it gets controversial. Pro-HFCS advocates argue it's a scapegoat for poor dietary habits. Others claim cane sugar's slower digestion makes it slightly safer. The question is, do you believe the type of sugar truly matters, or is this just a PR play? Share your take: should companies prioritize natural sources, even if the health perks are debated? 2. Trump's impact, Coca-Cola to use real sugar, ADM shares fall. A single presidential comment just sent shockwaves through the food and beverage industry. Could your favorite soda soon taste completely different? That's the question on everyone's mind after a bold announcement from former President Donald Trump, who claimed he convinced Coca-Cola to switch from high-fructose corn syrup to real cane sugar in its U.S. products. But here's where it gets controversial: the ripple effects were immediate, and not everyone is cheering. On Thursday, shares of Archer-Daniels-Midland, ADM, a leading producer of high-fructose corn syrup, took a noticeable hit. The stock dropped nearly 1% during regular trading, but at one point in pre-market hours, it plunged as much as 6%. Another major player, Ingredion, also saw its shares fall by up to 7% before the market opened, though they later recovered somewhat. This sudden market reaction followed Trump's post on Truth Social, where he thanked Coca-Cola's leadership for agreeing to the switch, calling it a very good move and promising, "You'll see. It's just better." But this is the part most people miss: Coca-Cola itself didn't actually confirm the change. In a carefully worded statement, the company expressed appreciation for Trump's enthusiasm but stopped short of making any promises. Instead, they teased that more information about new product innovations would be coming soon. Interestingly, Coca-Cola's stock price actually rose by almost 2% that day, bringing its year-to-date gains to over 13%, outperforming the broader market. Meanwhile, the Corn Refiners Association, which represents the interests of corn syrup producers, fired back with a strong warning. John Bode, the group's president and CEO, argued that replacing high-fructose corn syrup with cane sugar would be a blow to American manufacturing and agriculture. He claimed such a move could cost thousands of jobs, hurt farm incomes, and increase reliance on imported sugar, all without offering any real nutritional benefit. This is a hot-button issue. Is it worth risking American jobs for a change in sweetener, especially if the health benefits are unclear? This isn't the first time the government has pressured food companies to rethink their ingredients. Earlier this year, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. urged major food manufacturers to remove what he called the worst ingredients from their products. PepsiCo's CEO, Ramon Laguarta, weighed in on CNBC, noting that 60% of Pepsi's U.S. beverages already use sugar or are sugar-free, rather than relying on corn syrup. He also revealed plans to eliminate artificial ingredients from popular snack brands like Lay's and Tostitos by year's end. But here's a twist that could spark debate: sugar is significantly more expensive in the U.S. than in many other countries, largely due to government policies and farming strategies. LaGuardia suggested that making sugar more affordable could help the entire industry transition away from corn syrup, but that would require major policy changes. Should the government intervene to lower sugar prices, or is the current system protecting American farmers? In the wake of Trump's announcement, raw sugar futures spiked, reflecting the market's anticipation of increased demand. The entire episode raises big questions about the future of food manufacturing, the role of government in our diets, and the real impact of changing a single ingredient. So, what do you think? Is switching to cane sugar a step forward for American consumers, or does it risk too much for too little gain? Should companies prioritize tradition and taste, or focus on supporting domestic agriculture and jobs? Share your thoughts below. Do you agree with Trump's push for real sugar, or do you side with the industry's concerns? Let's get the conversation started.